Chicken piccata is an Italian-American favorite and probably one of the easiest weeknight dinner recipes to make at home. Thinly sliced chicken breasts are dredged in flour, seared until golden, and simmered in a lemon butter sauce that's dotted with capers and chopped parsley. This recipe has been popularized by all of the Italian style and Italian fusion restaurants in America, so you might have enjoyed it previously at an Olive Garden or something similar, but I'm gonna show you how to make this restaurant-worthy, super tasty recipe at home and in only about 20 minutes. So let's get started. You'll need 2 large chicken breasts for this recipe, and then what you're gonna do is thinly slice them in half horizontally, just as you would if you were going to butterfly them. In Italian, this is known as a scallopine dish, which just means that the meat is sliced thinly, and whether that's chicken, veal, or something else. This is easiest to do when the chicken is still firm and chilled rather than room temperature. And the key is holding the knife perfectly flat and perpendicular to the cutting board. And while I did a good job on my first one here, I'll show you my second one that wasn't so great as I angled the knife slightly downward at the end, which created a hole in the middle. Now, in all honesty, I debated reshooting this, but also wanted to show you guys that I'm certainly not perfect cooking at home, and sometimes mistakes happen. But guess what? It still turned out tasty in the end, and that's what matters most. As an alternative, if you don't want to slice your chicken breasts in half, you could also choose 4 small chicken breasts for this recipe, and then pound them thinner with a kitchen mallet. So it's up to you. You'll need 1/4 cup of flour for this recipe, and since I'm gluten-free, I'm using arrowroot powder today, but almost any flour works, so choose your favorite. To that, add 1/4 cup of finely grated Parmesan cheese, and I do recommend freshly grated if possible. Then add 1 teaspoon kosher salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Stir this around on a plate or shallow dish until it's all mixed together, and this is what you're gonna dredge or coat the chicken in to get that nice golden crust. So grab your thinly sliced chicken and press it down into the flour mixture to coat both sides. I like to use my hands to sprinkle extra all around the chicken and then press it in to make sure that it adheres well. And then place this on a separate plate to take over to the stove here in a second. Repeat this process with your other 3 chicken pieces, wash your hands, and then you can move on to prepping the ingredients for the sauce. Chicken piccata often has a little white wine in the sauce, but if you're alcohol-free, you can swap in more chicken broth. I'm using my handy-dandy bottle opener that I'm obsessed with and got over 25 years ago when I went wine tasting with my mom in Napa. You just press the needle into the bottle, press the CO2 canister on top, and then out pops your cork. And yes, I will link it for you below. But back to the sauce. You'll also need 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, which you should be able to get from about 1 lemon. And that's it in terms of prep, so let's get cooking. Add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to a large pan over medium-high heat, along with 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. Swirl that around the pan so that the butter and oil combine, and once it's all nice and sizzling, add the chicken to the pan. Cook the chicken for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, or until the chicken breasts are nice and golden and release easily from the pan. I know from comments that many of you have problems with chicken sticking to stainless steel pans, and that's usually because you're trying to flip them too early before they've gotten a nice crust and release naturally from the pan. So use tongs to flip them over and then cook them another 3 to 4 minutes, or until an instant read thermometer reads around 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Then remove the chicken to a plate. Pour in 1/2 cup of white wine, which should also deglaze the pan and help to remove all those tasty golden bits from the bottom, and add 4 garlic cloves. I like to mince the garlic, though you could always thinly slice it as well if you prefer bigger pieces. And then stir that around until it comes back to a simmer and is reduced by about half, which should take a few minutes. Add 1 cup of chicken broth, and I prefer low sodium, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of capers that you've drained, and 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. Stir that around until it begins to simmer again, and then add the chicken back to the pan. Spoon the sauce on top of the chicken, infusing it with that buttery lemon goodness, and let it simmer for 1 to 2 minutes until it's warmed through. The sauce for chicken piccata is not meant to be a thick sauce. It's definitely more liquidy, but if you prefer it slightly thicker, you could also whisk in a smidge more flour. And look at that, your chicken piccata is done. I told you guys this was a super easy recipe. You can serve it straight from the pan or add it to a serving plate. I'm gonna add mine to a serving plate today, and if you notice, I'm very strategic in placing the holy chicken piece on the bottom so that I can cover it with the last piece of chicken. If you wanna get fancy, you can also add some freshly sliced lemon to give a nod to the flavor in the sauce. Though I think whenever people see capers and chicken together nowadays, they instantly know it's a chicken piccata recipe. And whatever you do, don't forget about all of the sauce that's in the pan. That is liquid gold drizzled over the chicken, and if you serve this up over rice or mashed potatoes, that sauce oozes into everything, which makes the entire plate taste like $1,000,000 and very restaurant worthy. To finish it off, I'm adding a little bit of chopped parsley, and since I'm feeling extra fancy today to make up for my holy chicken, I'm going to add extra parsley to the side. This is definitely a weeknight dinner recipe that you should have in your back pocket because start to finish, it honestly only takes about 20 minutes, and it's so versatile in that you can pair it up with a variety of different side dishes. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure you're subscribed to my channel with notifications turned on, hit that thumbs up button, and share the recipe with your family and friends. And with that, I will see you again in the next video.